I'm ready.
Okay, let's go. So by way of introduction, my name is Shafqul Islam. I'm doing the role play interview with my colleague Mila. Okay, um, hi Mila. Thank you for coming in today. It's great to meet you. My name is Shof, and I'm part of the people team here at Interlux Hotel Group. And I'll be leading your interview today for the position of food and beverage assistant. Before we begin with the questions, let me just give you a quick overview of the role and the terms and conditions we've outlined. So the role that you're applying for, the food and beverage assistant, it reports into the food and beverage manager and is based at one of our hotel restaurants. The main focus of the role is to provide an enjoyable dining experience for our guests. That includes everything from greeting customers and taking orders, to delivering food, handling payments, and whilst doing all of that, maintaining an excellent customer service at high standards at all times. It's a shift-based role that may involve evenings, weekends, and bank holidays. This was all kind of included in the job advert and the job descriptions. And it'll be on a full-time permanent contract with pay in line with the national standards and staff benefits included. We've included a full job description and the outline of terms in the information sent to you. But if you'd like to clarify anything at the end, please do ask. There will be a few minutes for you to ask any questions to myself that you may have had on the way here. So there will be a little time for you to get them out for me to answer to you. The interview itself should only take about 20 minutes or so. So I'll ask you a series of questions that invite you to reflect on real examples from your experiences. And I'll also be taking some notes whilst you're answering. So please do not think that I'm not paying attention. Just taking those notes just so we can assess all candidates fairly and give everyone a level playing field. Does that sound all good to you, Mila?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much, Sof.
Thank you, no problem. Okay, so let's just get straight into it then. So could I ask first, what interests you most about working in the food and beverage service in a hotel environment like Interlux?
Great. Thank you so much for great introduction. And I would like to say that I do love variety of the guests and I like interaction with the people. I used to always have the hospitality backgrounds from business travels to restaurants. And I'm such kind of person who would love to make the experience of the people memorable, especially when they have special events. So that's what attracts me, just to make people happy. That's how I am. Yeah.
Nice, that's lovely to hear. Um, that's lovely to hear. Thank you very much for that, Mila. So yeah, let's move on to the next few questions. So could I ask, first of all, can you describe to me a time or a moment where you have delivered excellent customer service within a busy environment?
Yeah. So I was working as a waitress at the time in the one city's hotel rooftops, and it was a dinner during the weekend. It was the service was in rush. A lot of people joined the dining at the time.
Okay, brilliant. So what was your role or task in that specific situation?
All right. I do remember that some couples they had anniversary dinner, and there was a reservation mix up, so there was no table basically when they arrived.
Okay. So within that scenario, what steps did you take to ensure that the guests did eventually um, leave with a positive leave with a positive experience? And what was that? What was the outcome?
I did apologize, and I did provide them a spare area in the bar and offered them complimentary drinks for the event, so they haven't recognized that their table was taken. And whilst they were drinking, we were preparing the table very quickly, and we did coordinate also with the host to prioritize the seating. So I stayed with the contact with them and made sure they're enjoying their free cocktails, and then it was perfect timing to deliver them to the table.
Okay, brilliant. And just as a reflection point, just looking back at that scenario, is there anything you would do differently now looking back, or anything?
Right. I would say that double checking of the orders is essential, and looking further if the special events are booked. Um, I always will make sure that they are prioritized and nothing like that happens again.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you. Okay, so then moving on. Thank you very much for that answer, Mila. Um, could you now tell me about a time or a moment again when you had to work as part of a team to maybe meet a tight deadline or serve a large group or anything of that sort where it was within your team?
There was a time when we had a large corporate event in my previous hotel I used to work, and we had to serve a three-course meal within 80 guests, and it's supposed to happen under 1 hour.
Oh, wow, okay. Okay, so could you tell me in that scenario, what were you responsible for in that specific case?
Well, yeah, I did assign to the team of 5 to manage one half of the dining room and ensure timely and accurate service.
Oh, okay. So how did you coordinate and communicate that with your team exactly?
Well, from the technical point of view, the split of the tables was logical. We communicated through headsets and took charge of checking dietary requirements were met, and we held 5 minutes pre-service briefings to clarify timing. So it went well.
Okay. And then so as a whole, what was as a result of this of the teamwork and you working as part of your and with your team members, what was the overall results for the guests, one, and also the team?
The meal service went smoothly with no complaints from the guests or delays. The event coordinator also gave us a compliment the next day to the briefing, so our teamwork was recognized, which is very important.
Brilliant. Okay. And would you say that that recognition of your hard work was important for yourself and for the team um, to ensure that you maintained that level of customer service?
Yeah, it was very important because we felt inspired and we understood that communication and collaboration does make big difference when you deliver service like that.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Thank you for that. So as like a again a bit of a overall thinking point, what did you learn from that moment or that day about teamwork as a whole? What have you taken from that regarding teamwork?
Well, first of all, I learned how it's essential to trust your teammates when you're delivering services and over communicate during high stress periods to prevent the mistakes. So that was the main lesson.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Okay, and now just moving on. Okay. Could you now give me an example of when you had to pay close or very close attention to detail, maybe involving a guest order or a payment or any certain scenario where you just had to show that where you had to show or showcase your attention to detail.
I do remember one guest who had multiple allergies, including gluten and nuts. And the reason I remember that when gluten, it's more on the intolerance side, so it wasn't that dangerous in the moment. The worst allergy was nuts. He could have anaphylactic shock, so it was very dangerous. So that's why I remember this person.
Okay. Brilliant. Okay. So what was at stake? What would have been the consequences if you weren't to have paid attention to this? Uh, what would have happened? What would have been the impacts?
Well, I try to be reasonable for ensuring the kitchen handled the order safely and the guest felt confident about their meal.
Mhm. Okay, and so how did you ensure that what you did was correct and it was maintained and to a correct level and a high level whilst dealing with this certain specific customer?
I double check the ingredients with chef and wrote the word allergies in red in the ticket and personally followed to the kitchen to ensure that they remember that and there are no cross contamination because that was also the case which could cause or trigger the anaphylactic shock. So then I took with my clean hands, which were not in the kitchen, the plate myself and delivered that to the guest directly from the chef's hands to the floor, basically.
Thank you very much for that answer, Mila. Thank you. And so, as a overall from this, what did you learn from it? What did you take from this experience personally?
Well, I would say I learned how critical it is to not assure and that it is very important to verify even routine orders
Mhm.
makes difference in safety and satisfaction of the guest.
Okay, thank you very much. Um, okay, brilliant. Thank you for all your answers so far, Mia. Appreciate all you sharing all your experiences so far. Just only a couple more questions left. Um, could you now talk to me about a time when clear communication um, from yourself helped avoid a mistake or a problem at work before it happened preemptively?
Everything I think of was one breakfast service, and our system went down, and orders they had to be handwritten.
Okay, okay. So, what did you need to communicate and to who exactly there in this scenario?
First of all, I needed to make sure the kitchen and bar received accurate orders while avoiding the delay. That was the first step, I would say.
Okay. And how did you ensure everyone understood this your message and your communication clearly?
I wrote clear, detailed ticket. I even did provide a breakdown of the guest positions and separate section for food, separate section for drinks, and the order went to guests for confirmation as well. So then only it went to the bar
Mhm.
and to the kitchen.
Okay. Um, and then so what was the result of your communication? And would you say this is more of like a double-barreled question here? So, what happened as a result of your communication? And also, would you say that this communication or communication in general, or successful communication is essential in busy food service settings?
Mm. Well, we did avoid any incorrect orders, and also in the beginning, we informed our guests that this is happening, so we're purely transparent. They were very pleased about this transparency, and if we done slight mistake, they were still satisfied.
Okay, okay, brilliant. Thank you very much for that. Moving on just slightly, could you now tell me about a time you dealt with a particular demanding or maybe a dissatisfied customer um, during their stay or during their meal whilst you were serving them?
We did have a guest who was very upset about their steak, and the guest told that the steak was overcooked.
Mhm. Okay.
Can happen.
Mhm. And so what was your specific responsibility within this situation?
Well, as a waitress at the time, I needed to escalate this situation and resolve it very quickly. So I needed to act very fast.
Okay, brilliant. And a bit similar, a bit of a similar question. Could you kind of give me an example of when you had to manage multiple customer orders at once, or deal with more than one customer at a single time, and how you dealt with that?
Um, I made, well, in this specific case, I made sure that all the customers they have their orders in time, but with the person who had steak overcooked, apologized about the situation, informed my line manager, and offered the replacement meal, and went straight away to the kitchen to ensure it will be ready in minutes.
Okay. Okay, so that's a specific scenario. So if there was a scenario where you had, if you had a scenario with you've had multiple customers that you were dealing with at the same time, that you had to deal with equally, or
Well, I always try to prioritize tasks and be proactive.
do you have any specific methods or strategies to help you prioritize to stay on track?
I would say I would write down everything in my notepads,
Mhm.
make sure I keep resilient to the situation, and update guests about the waiting times
Yeah,
and be very apologetic also.
yeah.
Maybe
So
some complimentary drinks could be a great practice as well.
yeah. Okay, and so in these type of scenarios, how do you kind of ensure that you stay calm and focused during high pressure moments and periods like this, like dealing with multiple customers at once?
I just try to keep things in order, everything recorded, to follow certain steps, to ensure that things are moving without panicking, I would say, and consistently communicate and be transparent with guests. When
Okay,
you get transparent, people kind of understand you and they also are satisfied.
brilliant, Mila. Thank you very much. So that kind of concludes all of my questions for now, and I'd like to thank you very much for all of your answers. Just before we wrap up, do you have any questions for me that I might be able to answer for you now?
Yeah, I would love to. Could you please tell me how this position became available?
Yeah, of course. So yeah, this vacancy it came up due to one of our team members moving on to another role outside of the company, a more senior role. They've been with us for a couple of years, and they left on good terms with a good rapport with everyone at the company and the team. So we're now obviously looking to bring someone in into the team to replace them and to continue delivering the high standard of service that we expect at all times at Interlux.
Brilliant. And probably what is the most challenging do you find at this stage during the busy periods of the service? What is the, you would say, the most
Good,
challenging thing?
good question, Mila. So I would probably say one of the main challenges during busy periods is keeping service both fast and consistent, especially when we have a full house, when the dining area is at full capacity, which we do have quite um, a numerous amount of times. Things like handling large groups, coordinating with the kitchen, and managing waiting times can become intense. So that's why we really value team members who stay calm under pressure, communicate well, and stay organized even when it gets quite hectic.
Thank you so much for the honest response. It was
No,
really a pleasure to have this conversation with you today.
not a problem, Mina. And just before I do let you go, and I promise I will let you go, do you have a notice period that you are currently working on, or just wanted to know your rough availability if you were to move forward?
I do. My notice period is 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Okay, brilliant. So yeah, that is I guess that brings us towards to the end pretty much now. We will obviously be in touch with you, Mila, regarding outcome and things of that sort. You have my contact details, so before, if you have any questions or anything you wanted to kind of share or get answered, before we do reach out to you, please do feel free to reach out to myself, and I'll be more than happy to get back to you. But if not, or until then, it was lovely meeting you, and I will see you later.
Thank
Thank you very
you.
much.
Thank you
Thank
very